Hey, I have decided to come on live, and I'm actually going to be talking kind of quietly because my husband is trying to take a nap. He just came home exhausted and he's been working crazy hours. But I wanted to come on early because I wanted to kind of just show you the prep sequence, and we're heading into a holiday season and it's time to just talk all the baking and the things that you'll be wanting to do for friends and family. And so tonight we are going to make a French silk pie, and I need a pre-baked crust. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I love showing how to make this crust. You may have seen me do pie crust in this before. I will never make pie crust any other way. I found this pie crust recipe a couple years ago, and I have fallen in love with it. So one of the most helpful things you can do when you're baking a pie crust is keep your butter cold. And so I like to just keep it in the fridge until I'm absolutely ready to use it. But I will say that then cutting it in traditionally is really hard when it's cold. And that's why I love this twist and chop mixer, because it does the work. So the first thing we need is, I like to put the dry ingredients first. So we're going to put in 1 1/4 cup of flour. The important thing is that you measure your flour accurately. And the way to do that is not to scoop your flour out, but it's actually to use a separate tool to put the flour in the measuring cup. And I have been having one of those weeks also where I'm realizing I have been with Pampered Chef so long, my kitchen is so completely stocked with all these amazing tools, I forget that that's not normal and that many of you struggle with cooking because you just don't have the right tools. And it might sound really simplistic, but it can make such a big difference. And one of the things that's nice about this set is it does have the leveling tool. The other thing that's really great about it is that it has a 2/3 cup and a 3/4 cup measure. So when you need to measure odd amounts like that, you don't have to double up on another cup or something like that. So even for a 1/4 cup, you want to make sure you're measuring the scoop in level off. Otherwise, what happens is you get too much flour in whatever you're baking, and then your cookies, your cake, your pie crust is going to come out really tough. So that's why that's important. So I think one of the really amazing secret ingredients to this recipe is the sugar. And I try to avoid sugar, but it is worth it in this recipe. It's just a tablespoon. You could probably knock it down to half of that if you needed to. The truth is, pie crust is carbs. So the sugar is kind of immaterial, but it gives it such a great flavor. It's just a little bit, but it's such a great flavor. And I think it really helps with rolling it out. So again, like the measuring cups, these measuring spoons have additional pieces to them. So it's got a 1/2 tablespoon measure. It's got a 1/8 tablespoon measure. So just a little extra, just those little extra things that can really make the job easier. Which just, since we are talking about heading into the holidays, if you have somebody in your life who likes to bake or likes to cook, or if you know somebody who's getting married, one of my favorite things to do at a bridal shower is sit in the back where nobody knows me and wait for the bride to open my gift that comes in a Pampered Chef box. And the whole room goes, "Oh, Pampered Chef." I mean, they don't do that when she opens, "Oh, Wilton decorating set," or when she opens towels or things. I mean, the only other thing that gets that kind of a gasp in the room is like a hand crocheted blanket or something like that. But they open up your Pampered Chef gift and the whole room goes, "Oh, Pampered Chef." So you can be the hero in those moments. And it's just the simplest little thing. Okay, we're going to cut some butter up here and put it in. So now our butter is cut in just like that. We're going to get some cold water. Okay, so I've got 2 tablespoons cold water. There is actually a pour spout here. I could pour it in, which is really helpful if you're doing something like making tapenade or something. For pie crust, I just go ahead and pour it in. And now we're going to done. Easiest pie crust ever. Seriously, save yourself so much time. Look at that. So you do want to let it keep going until it gets all clumped up like that. My temptation is to stop it too soon, and if you stop it too soon, it's just a lot harder to work with. So you want it gets really clumpy, just like it would if you were doing it by hand, okay? So we need the flour back. And we're gonna roll this out. Okay. I think I put too much flour out. That's all right. So we're just gonna pull this out of here. If I'm making a double crust pie, I just repeat the process a second time for my top crust, and it's done. It's so easy. Okay, there it is. Now, I like to really squish it into a good ball, like so, okay? And then kind of flatten it out and use my hands to make it roundish, okay? And then we take the rolling pin. Ta-da! If you need a decent rolling pin, I mean, I do still have my grandmother's, but I don't use it. This one's ash, and it's just got a really nice finish on it. So we're gonna just roll it out like this. And the other thing we have that's very popular, and I didn't think to grab it. Let me show you, because it is so popular. How many of you have one of these, right? This is so great, because the thing I like about it is you can roll from the center out, which kind of makes sense, right? It's easier to get a circle. And the other thing is that I don't really need to do it here, but you can dip it in your flour. So it actually uses less flour, because I put a whole lot out because I was using the rolling pin. But with this, you just dip it in your flour bin. It's beautiful. And then this is totally dishwasher safe. The other thing I forgot to mention is the mat for rolling out. Y'all, having a good mat is so helpful. And part of the reason is because you'll see here in a minute, you can just kind of fold this up. This mat is like maybe 10 years old. Yeah, because I remember my daughter was in college and she did her own party so that she could earn a free cutting mat with her host rewards while she was in college, because she was like, Mom, I just can't handle not having a cutting mat up at school. So I like how I can do this. Usually I do it more carefully. So I've just folded it in half, and now we're going to put it in the plate. And this is going to be a single crust chocolate silk pie, so it does not, it's not going to have a top crust, and I'm going to want to weight it down so it doesn't bubble up in the oven here. So I really wanted to try this in the air fryer, but I decided I wasn't feeling that brave today. I wish you could feel how easy this crust is to handle. And it's just, I think it's because of the way the butter gets cutted really well, which some will say, okay, but it's not going to be as flaky. So if your goal is flaky crust, then you'll just want to do it shorter in that food processor for a shorter time. I just like crust that's easy to handle. Look at that. You saw me do that. How easy was that? I was not having to navigate like crumbly anything. It's just, oh my gosh, it's like Play-Doh. That's what it's like. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do the simple thumb to kind of go with the scalloped edge that's already on here. So we just want to cut a piece to fit the bottom. And it doesn't have to be exact, it just needs to be good enough. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of eyeball here what we need. If you fold it in quarters, you can draw that kind of the arc if you need a little better guidance. But again, this is not perfection, it's just good enough. Okay, there we go, good enough. And the reason we're doing this, let me just make sure. Oh yeah, I do want to prick this just a little bit. So I'm going to do the old fork method. The reason we're doing this is because there's nothing in the crust. It'll want to kind of lift up during baking, and so just putting the parchment in and then something to weight it down. So there are things out there called pie crust weights that you can buy, but you can save yourself a whole lot of money and just use something like kidney beans, dried rice. Rice will work. You know what? Maybe I'll just use rice because it's right here. Honestly, the reason I was going to do coffee beans is because I thought if I end up with coffee flavor in the pie crust, I will not care. It will taste great. So we're just going to do rice. The nice thing about rice is that I can just, there, and then I'll when I pull this out, I'll be able to save that rice and use it to make dinner. Okay. So there it is. Look how beautiful that is. This, my friends, is the magic of baking with stoneware. If you didn't see last week's video about cookie baking and how perfectly they come out, same thing with pies. So your crust is not soggy on the bottom. Same thing with pizza. Same thing with tater tots. I mean, anything you put on stoneware bakes so evenly and beautifully.